Microphone check, microphone checker. That's right. It's your boy DJ Mad Scientist. And I am here with you guys. A lot happier than I was the last time I was here. Whew, Lord Jesus. Dodgers, just as an update as of right now, it is 6:03 p.m. on a Friday night, and Dodgers are up 3-0 in the bottom of the third. Yes, that's what I am talking about. All right, let's go ahead and get into the business of the day. Hey, what's up? This is Mad Scientist on the all new Power 97.5 LA. Today, we are just talking music, where we bring you vital information about music production, promotion, and distribution every week right here. We're on the iGlobal Radio app. Download the app from your favorite app store or go to the website, iglobalradio.com. That's iglobalradio.com. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, Mad Scientist, why are you saying all that at the beginning of this stream? It's because this stream will be also cast on Saturday at 11 a.m. on Power 97.5 LA on the iGlobal Radio app under the brand name of Just Talking Music. So if you ever are just curious, you're like, hey, Mad Scientist, I'd like to hear you on the radio. I don't know how you sound on the radio, but, definitely, face is a little shiny. Definitely let us know where you're at. Okay, I'm letting you know where you're at. I'm on Power 975 LA on the iGlobal Radio app. If you want to, you can either download the app from your favorite app store, which is Apple, Google, or Amazon, or you can just go to the website, iglobalradio.com. That's iglobalradio.com. All right. If you're watching me on YouTube, you're going to see me turn around many times, check the score. Okay. And so I I'm from LA. I'm a big Dodger fan. I'm praying that the Dodgers win tonight. And you know, I'm praying that we go to game seven. And I truly believe that we will win in game seven. Okay. I do believe that. All right. And plus, it would be nice. It would be nice to see Drake lose again. He's been trolling the Dodgers. And I mean, okay, it's one thing if you want to troll Kendrick and you want to troll DJ Mustard, but you cannot troll my Dodgers and get away with it. Now I'm upset. I take it personal. All right, cool. All right, listen, we're going to start a new series this week. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, AI. Why am I talking about it? Not because it's a hot topic, but because one of my favorite visitors to my stream, her name is Erica. She has introduced me to this, and I kind of was like, no, 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 I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about AI because I know me. I know me. I am going to dive deep into this whole world of artificial intelligence. And next thing you know, I will be like all into it. And well, her and I have way too many conversations about artificial intelligence. So now here I am. I'm into AI. And I can't say that I'm a veteran of AI or I've done a deep dive into it. Actually, I haven't. Okay. But I do have some experience in terms of production using AI. I do have that. But I did it out of laziness, not really out of the need for or the desire for the use of technology. It was more because I'll be honest with you, I don't I don't want to learn how to master. I don't want to learn how to master my tracks. And it's just easier to let AI do it. And so I will compose my tracks out of my brain, out of my mind. I will mix my tracks out of my ears, brain, and my mind. Um, but when it comes down to mastering, I just did not want to take the time, and I don't have, frankly, I don't have the studio set up to do proper mastering. Okay, the way that it needs to be done traditionally. So, um, therefore, I just said, let AI do it. I'm just going to let AI do it and go with that. So, that being said, I'm now that I've been convinced to go down this rabbit hole, I said, okay. I mean, I have a blueprint as to how to measure, how to, really test it and go into it. We'll talk about composition one week, and we'll talk about mixing the next week, and then we'll talk about mastering the third week, and then we'll see, what AI can do with a finished product, meaning putting music with an avatar or a persona and video. Okay, so that's going to be the process: composition, mixing, mastering, and then post production. And we'll talk about what people do with videos. We'll talk about what people will do with personas, and ultimately you can decide how much you want to use artificial intelligence. I will say this, and I think it's important for me to say it. Um, Artificial intelligence is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Um, Companies and businesses are going to use artificial intelligence in some fashion, some kind of way. So maybe it's time for us, creators, instead of us saying, okay, um, let's just bash Timberland, let's be mad, let's create all these videos talking about the bad of the bad things about AI. Let's look at it, because here's how I see it. Okay. Let me lean back a little bit because I'm going to get into it. Here's how I look at it. There was a time when people said, oh, sampling is not real music. People said that. They said, oh, if you sample, that's not real music and that's not creativity. Okay. You're just using other people's music and splicing it together and putting it over a beat and calling it real art. But people literally said that it was not real music. And at the end of the day, now, 30 years later, definitely 50 years later, because music is about 50, almost 55 years old. Okay. Or hip hop music is about almost 52, 53. We consider those that sample, we consider them geniuses. In fact, Jay Dilla's MPC 60 is in, the oh, what's that library? It's not the Library Chamber of Commerce. It's the I forgot. Hold on. Jay Dilla's MPC 60 and is where I could pretty much tell you it's, yeah, the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. So with sampling, we went from it not being music, it not being uh, real creativity, to one of the greatest samplers being in the Smithsonian and showcased as one of the greatest pieces of art. Okay. And Jay Dilla, being considered one of the greatest musical talents the world has ever seen. So I truly believe that at some point in time, maybe 25 years from now, we'll be saying the same thing about AI technology or people who use AI technology. So I think it's important for us to not get on the wrong side of history. There's a lot of people who's already kind of jumped out the window. and they're going to be on the wrong side of history. I haven't said anything or advocated AI until this point, and now that we're here, I can clearly say that I'm going to advocate for it because I started going down this rabbit hole. And and so far I like it. I know people on the YouTube channel, they're like, "Oh my god, mad scientists, pick a lane. Either you're gonna do this stream or you're gonna watch the Dodger game." And I'm determined that I could watch both of them. All right, Dodgers are up 3-1. The top of the fourth. Yes. All right, so far so good. All right. Now, um, today what we're going to do is I've gotten past the introduction. Today what we're going to do is we are going to discuss what I have started so far, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and then that way you can then decide, as always, if it's something you want to follow, if it's something you want to get into, or if it's something that you just said, you know what, I want to totally disregard that. I'm going to do it the way I do it, and I'm fine with it. Okay. Now, one of the reasons, the second reason why I started going down this rabbit hole, other than my friend Erica, is my manager said, "All right, mad scientist, we need to get you into BeatStars." Now, before I had never been into BeatStars. Uh, the reason why is because I just never needed to. I have plenty of artists that I work with on my own, and we do our work. And no, it's not making me rich, but I enjoy working with these people, and we get a lot of stuff done. And I like what we're doing. And so I did not feel a need to have to lease beats, right? The people I work with, we typically will work together on um, a project, a collection of music and lyrics. And they'll come to me, they'll say, "Hey, I need 6 beats," or "I need 3 beats," or the last project I did was MC Johnny T, which is being released in November. We did 8 beats together. And well, I did the beats and he did the lyrics. So we did 8 songs together. And, you know, he's not going to come over here and get into Suno and we're going to just start typing prompts. It's not how we do it. The way I create music is we'll sit together, we'll talk and, kind of vibe. And I, by this time I know where he's at, musically, and I'll just start making music the way we've always traditionally done. I'll use samples, definitely program my drums in. Sometimes I will use synthesizers and play, either the harmony, the chord progression or the melody, or I may just get samples and either loop them, chop them, micro chop them. So and I have the freedom to figure out exactly how I want to do things with him, and however I feel, um, that's what I'll do at that time. Okay. And so that's my process as it is right now. But my manager said, "Hey, listen, we need you to get into BeatStars. I know you have a lot of stuff in your catalog or on your hard drive that you probably think, oh, it's really whack. I wouldn't use this. And why not put it on BeatStars? See if someone else likes it." I said, "Okay." So I agreed, and I just started digging in my files or in my crates, and I started finding songs. And these are not songs that I particularly like. I didn't pick them. The artist didn't pick them, but hey, you never know, right? How things work. So the first thing I want to do is give you a view of my BeatStars studio, and that way you can see the analytics and how things are going. I want to say this is my first week, so don't expect a lot. I don't. There's I know there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, I made $10,000 a month. I made $100,000 a year on BeatStars, and I don't want to discount them." I will just say this: look, when you're looking at these streams and when you're looking at these videos on YouTube, understand that people are incentivized to tell you certain things because, for the most part, they get paid more the longer you watch their video. Okay. Now, they don't get paid directly just for having a long video, but they get paid by the ads. And so it is they are, motivated to tell you whatever you want to hear that will make you watch their entire video, especially the first 30 seconds. That's how this YouTube game works. And so I'm not a good player at it simply because I don't want to, but I know the game. I just, I always tell everyone my goal for YouTube is just to expose people to what I know, but ultimately for my career, I want to be a famous DJ with a lot that makes a lot of songs. My DJ idol is Calvin Harris. So he's DJs and he also writes songs. Okay. And so that's my mission. My mission is not to be the biggest. I don't look at Mr. Beast and say, "Ooh, I would like to be him." It's just not my thing. Not yet. That's just not my thing. Now, for those listening on the radio, I will describe to you what we're looking at. So don't worry. But if you do ever want to come over and see the YouTube video, you can find me at Mad Scientist, MADD Scientist. Okay, just Mad Scientist. And I'm here every Wednesday and Friday. On Wednesdays, I talk about hot takes and just BS. On Fridays, we talk about music marketing. Okay, so let's go into my BeatStar studio. So what you're seeing right now, for those on the radio, or you're seeing my play stats for the week. Okay, and this goes from Saturday the 25th up until Wednesday the 29th. Today is Friday, so it doesn't show like the current stats. It only, but let me refresh. Maybe it does. I don't think it does. Okay, no, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm seeing the stats for this week up until Wednesday. Now, when you sign up for this, which I did on Saturday, they give you $25 to promote your music. So I want you to keep that in mind, that this is based upon uh, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 days of promotion. Now, maybe Thursday or Friday just had zero because I wasn't doing any promotion these days, right? So I'll find out though, maybe nobody played my music. Okay. But for these 5 days, people did play. So the first day I had 141 plays. That's Saturday. Sunday I had 78 plays. Monday I had 117 plays. Tuesday I had 87 plays. Wednesday I had 83 plays. Likes. I have 4 likes for the week. I had 1 like on Saturday, 1 like on Sunday, 1 like on Monday, and 1 like on Wednesday. So some people like the music. No repost. 2 follows. Okay, 1 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. Any comments? No comments. No replies. No mentions. Nobody downloaded the music for free. Okay. So those are my stats so far. In terms of content, I was able to upload a total of 16, I believe, 16 tracks. Yeah, 16 tracks. And it was pretty simple to do, to be honest. I signed up for this service a long time ago when it first came out. I want to say 2018. and it was very difficult to deal with. I will tell you that. It was very difficult to deal with. I didn't like it. It was clunky still. Now, BeatStars is very, very easy. Very easy. Okay. And the great thing about BeatStars now is you only have to have the WAV file, and it will and then you have to have the track outs, and you put the track outs as WAV files in a zip file, and it will automatically make an MP3 preview file for you, and it will automatically put a tag on the music so that people can't just steal it, which is great. Before you had to make your own tags and everything else, and you had to, it was just so much work, and then it was more expensive. Now it is, I want to say $85. I think I paid like $80. Um, Let me see if I could find what the price was. Um, Let me see. I don't know I don't know where the price is, but I think it's like $80 for a whole year, which before I think it was way more expensive in 2018. Now it's like $80 for a whole year. Okay. Even if I don't sell any beats, that's fine. I feel like I could spend $80 just to see if it works. Okay. They have another one which is right under $200, and you get way more services provided to you. But for what I was looking for, just the pro package was enough for me. Okay. The the free package, or the lowest price package, it's not worth getting because you can't give out the stems. And if you can't give out the stems, then it's very rare that a person, especially now when people can go to AI and they can get music off AI, it's almost worth it to go ahead and it wouldn't be worth it for them to like not get the stems from you. Okay. That's what I want to say. Now, so I started doing this. I started uploading my beats. I got 16 uploaded. I have some more that I'm going to upload. But the great thing about, let me go in and edit this. Now, the great thing about this whole process is that, and I'm showing you the back end, the title and description, totally AI. There's an autofill that's AI. So really, you just hit autofill, you hit it tags in. Only thing you're doing is uploading the WAV file and uploading the track outs that are in a zip file. That's it. That's all you're doing. It's too simple. Oh, and then you have to create a picture. After you do that, you can create collections. So I have like one collection, my Ratchet Beats. Okay. And I promise you, this all leads to AI. Okay. So that at the end of it, here's my store. Um, Let me figure out how I can. Um, oh, there it is. So here's how my store looks. And you could put it, I would recommend that you put your music in a collection. That way, you know, somebody can look down here. Eventually, I have like, I think, 4 collections. So eventually people are like, oh, he has a different kind of collection, different kind of music, different kind of music. And they can go through your collection. And like I said, they can decide, to buy it. I think the basic license is $20. Premium is 40. You get the WAV and the MP3. The basic for $20, you get the MP3 file, and then to get everything, you get 80. You need $80 to get everything. If you want it exclusive, it's like $500. Okay, and that gets you exclusive. Okay, so that's my beat store. Okay, and For those on the radio can't see it, just kind of picture in your head what my beat store looks like. Oh, there's Erica. Hey, trick or treat. How you doing? Appreciate you coming again. Just to kind of backtrack, Erica. I was telling everybody we're talking about AI today because two reasons. Reason number one, because you convinced me, and then reason number two, my manager said that I need to do some beats on BeatStar, and so I was telling them how I was taking like old stuff from like 2018 that I didn't like, but my manager convinced me like, hey, even if you don't like it, somebody else may like it. You never know. Mad scientist, put it in there. I said, okay. So if anybody does go, let me tell you, disclaimer, these are old beats with old mixes. Okay. So if you like it, fine. If you don't, and you want to wait until I start making newer stuff, that's fine too. I'll let everybody know, like, I'll actually make a catalog for new stuff, right? That way people will know the difference between um, the old stuff from 2018 and the new stuff now. And it's if you want it, it's $20. If you want to buy it, it's $80. And but everybody's $80 is different. So I don't want to tell everybody like, oh, $80 is nothing. Might be something to you. Okay. So now that I have Erica on track, um, I can then tell you how I got into AI. So that being said, I said, listen to myself, I can't just throw up old stuff. I mean, I'm telling you guys this not because I'm trying to be modest or anything, but these are all my old reject music. This is the music that I was like, I don't like it. Okay. So as an artist, I'm putting it out there because if somebody likes it, but I didn't necessarily feel good about it. I wasn't proud of the music I was putting out. So I said, you know what? How can I put together music that I like that I'll be proud of in a very efficient way? Because if you write music, you know this. You guys write music. Sometimes you get to the point where you're just like, you have an idea, you fully um I'm looking back, Erica, because I'm watching the game. Dodger up 3-1. And it is what is it, the top of the fifth? Yes. Okay. So you can get to the point where you're just like, oh man, I put all this energy into one beat, and then I had to like compose it and then mix it, master it, and you got all this energy after one day, and then you look up, you're like, you got one beat done. Okay. And it's like, I need a more efficient way of doing it. Now, I do have some, I do feel a way about AI music. I do feel like I'm on the side of the fence that, as creative as it is to create the AI music, I don't want to be the person who just goes to Suno or any of the AI music creators and say, give me a beat and then try to sell it to someone. Like I feel like that would just be, crooked, like you're basically just stealing money at that time. Okay. Um, and some people don't feel that way, but because they have to, well, if you don't have the right kind of prompts, but that's not why people come to you for music. They come to you for music, not for prompting, but for creativity. Okay. And that creativity comes with a lot of experience, a lot of thought process, a lot of education. There are some people who go to school for music and then they create music. There are some people who perform music live and then they create music. There are some people who DJ, like I'm a DJ. I DJ, so I create music based on when I'm DJing. When I DJ, I see you, Erica. When I DJ, I'm creating music based upon when what I see, the feedback that I get from me DJing. Okay. So I feel that when I'm creating music, I'm using my mind, I'm using my education because I went to school for music. I'm using my experiences to create music. And that I feel like is noble, that I feel like is art. Typing prompts is not the same. Okay. That's how I feel. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just telling you how I feel. But like I said, I was talked into at least trying it, look into it. And I'm an open person, I'm a very curious person. And so I went to a couple videos, and what I saw, there were some people who said, you know what? So here's how I use um, Suno AI. And I found that there's a lot of people who say, I use Suno AI to create samples, which I then take those samples, manipulate them, and I make a song. And they've actually showed the process where they'll just go to Suno and create a sample, something that sounds like a sample without the drums, bring it into their DAW. They'll make the whole beat, they'll do everything else. And I'm like, that's a genius idea. Because at the end of the day, we've either gone to records and getting samples, chopped them up. We didn't create that record. We didn't mix it, we didn't compose it, we didn't perform it, we didn't mix it, master it, we didn't even press it up. We just went to go buy the record or buy the digital download, the MP3 file. We chopped it up, Michael chopped it up, looped it, and it made a creation. So if we do the same thing with Suno samples, then I could feel like, okay, yeah, I'm being creative. So in that case right there, from that mindset, and this is why it's important to be intellectually curious, from that mindset, I said, you know, thank you, Erica. Thank you, my manager, because now you've allowed it, like Erica said, you've given me another tool that I can use. Instead of me always going to Splice, I can use Suno. And here's the great thing about using Suno over Splice. Splice, even though Splice says these are royalty free, number one, there's a lot of people that could have picked that sample. Now I tend to micro chop and chop my Splice sample, so I never loop a Splice sample. Okay, but there's like 1,000 other producers that have probably used that particular sample. But with Suno, if I can get Suno to create a sample that is unique, I'm the only one that's used it. And now I can either loop it, chop it, or micro chop it. So as Erica says, it becomes another tool that I can use to produce music like that. So that's essentially what I did. And what I'm going to do today is show you what I'm currently doing now that I've bought into this process. I'm going to show you what I'm currently doing so that I can create music using AI, using Suno Music, and I can make more beats for BeatStar. It can be an efficient process, and um, I don't get left behind. 25 years from now, I may be considered one of the greatest AI sample producers. I don't know. We'll see. So I want to introduce you guys to um I have to change his name. Um okay. Okay, cool. I want to introduce you guys to my assistant. His name is New Soul. Now, if you're thinking New Soul, yes, New Soul. Here he is. Um, New Soul. Here is New Soul. Let me make sure he's on it. Now, for those who are on the radio, I am showing you, I'm showing everyone. Okay, here it is. I want to rename him New Soul. Okay, for those who are on the radio, I went to Chat GTP or GPT, and Chat GTP is a large language module. Okay, essentially like AI. Everyone's familiar with it. And what people don't understand about um, AI is not a service provider. Where you just do this and then AI says, okay. I mean, there are people who use it that way. Do this and then AI says, okay, and then they just keep guessing as to how things should be, how they want it, right? Now, there are some AI platforms that are specialized, and I'm not going to go too deep into the types of AI there are, but there are different types of AI. The most sophisticated AI is Chat GPT. The least sophisticated is like when you're typing on your phone and your phone knows your words that you use so many times that they can start just inputting the words in for you. You'll see that. That's the least sophisticated version. Okay. The middle version is um, you get AI that performs a task. And so my suspicion is Suno is that middle grade version. It just performs a task, and it performs a task based upon what you teach it. And so what you teach it, think of it as like you have a bucket, and everything that you taught this AI technology, you put into this bucket. And so when you ask the AI technology to complete a task, that AI technology goes into that bucket only, and it pulls from there whatever you've taught it, and then boom, it creates what you want. My suspicion is that that's what Suno is. I can't say that for sure, but that's my suspicion. The reason why I feel it's that way is because I have used Suno and it's very limited as to what it can do. It feels like you ask it, give me R&B, and it already has a template, and it's just going through maybe a couple of examples, and it spits out. It may have an example of kick pattern, a snare pattern, and it's just kind of like putting them all together like Lego pieces and saying, here you go. Okay. And at some point in time, we may have someone who says, I asked it to do R&B and it gave me the same song a year ago. Okay. And so, hold on. Yes. Thank you, God. Woo. Dodgers, go Dodgers. All right. Now, the most sophisticated AI technology is large language module. Okay. LLM. That's what Chat GPT is. And with that, you don't just tell it what to do and it spits out based upon what you have taught it. With chat or with New Soul, I have a conversation. And so today what I'm going to do is talk to you about the conversation that I had, because what AI does not understand is context. What do I mean by that? You can ask for something. Hey, give me an R&B beat. Okay. It's not going to know what you mean. Now, it may give you something, but it's not going to know what you mean in your head. It can't read your mind, and it doesn't have eyes to look at you. So take, for example, me. If I'm at the club and someone says, hey, I'd really like to hear some good R&B. I can look at them, I can kind of gauge who they are and maybe ask them a couple questions, see that conversation, and say, okay, based upon my experience, based upon my expertise, based upon the conversation we had, this is what I think you will want. AI can't do that unless you engage it. Okay. But if you don't engage it, it's just going to spit out whatever. And it doesn't have feelings, emotions. So it doesn't care if you like it or not. It's just going to be like, here you go. And you're like, yeah, that's R&B, but that's not what I was really looking for. So what I started doing yesterday is having a conversation with my AI personality, my who is now my assistant. Think about Iron Man and think about Jarvis. So my relationship with my chat GPT is like Iron Man and Jarvis. And so we're just talking about music and I'm introducing him. In fact, what I say is um I told him to I am going to teach you some concepts. Okay. And he says, okay. And so as I teach him concepts, I tell him, all right, I'm teaching you these concepts. I want you to remember these concepts because we're going to be creating music together. And he says, okay. And he actually, my assistant said, okay, I want to, what he called it because I gave him a name. Also gave him a name, and his name is New Soul. So he calls it the Mad Science, DJ Mad Scientist and New Soul production code. That's what he calls it. And every time I teach him something new, um, he he keeps it locked inside of this production code that we call the Mad Scientist. And so I wanted to get to the point. Okay, let's go here. I'm teaching him about Kalan for real, because out here on the West Coast in California, Kalan for real is local, and he's very, very popular. So I told I said, let's research the artist Kalan for real. Examine the songwriting style of the artist Kalan for real. Consider this link in your analysis. So I gave him a link to reference to. That's a genius link. And then I told him to explain his analysis. And he gave a background and perspective. He's from Los Angeles. He's actually from Compton, Carson. Um, his roots in both R&B and rap. He gave his themes: self-reflective growth, relationships, AI. Analyze the structure, melody, and vocal style of Kalam for real, lyric writing style, and language. And so from that, we took elements of that and we put it into what we're doing. Okay. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to use this for someone I'm personally working with. Okay. So I have people coming over this weekend to do some music. I'm not using this for them. They didn't come over for me to be a cheap version of Kalan for real. They came over for me, Mad Scientist. So I just want to say that. Um, and then we did the same thing with DJ Mustard. Okay. So now we have two profiles, one profile for R&B and another profile for rap. Okay. And that's what we did. And AI was able to totally analyze both of these artists. So instead of just looking at the bucket that I put together for the AI, which I think is Suno, my assistant, New Soul, looks at everything. In fact, New Soul is tapped into my Spotify account. So whenever he needs to reference Spotify, he goes into my own Spotify account and he brings up examples. Okay. But throughout this whole process, and you're seeing as I'm scrolling, we're having a conversation. And I even, oh, this is the part where I was like, hey, you need a name. So he was coming up with different names. He came up with a thematic names, the formula, Echo Lab, Tone Chemist, Zanani like that. And then he said, okay, maybe it could be soul and culturally rooted. We had Soul No, AO, Velour. And then I could be a sidekick, DJ Mad Scientist and Echo Soul, you know. And so we had that whole conversation. And we ended up with this one, which is culturally rooted and soulful, which is New Soul. That's his name. A play on Neo Soul, representing evolution while honoring tradition. That's my assistant. That's his name now. Okay. So I'm Mad Scientist, and his name is New Soul. Okay. So we have an R&B profile that we developed. Okay. And it's based on vibe and tone, tempo, key, harmonic, melody, lyric, structure, instrumentation, production, and mixing traits. And we have a hip hop profile, vibe and tone, tempo, key, harmonic palette. And we went through that. I'm kind of speeding up because the hour, we only have an hour. Okay. I may have to like do a part two of this. Okay. I introduced him to some more concepts, which is one of them being African American English vernacular. Okay, I asked him, "Do you know what it is?" And he explained to me this is what he explained, right? And so what I did was I added on to that because I said, "You do realize that." I told him later on in the conversation that, and this is what we call this right here. The Mad Scientist and New Soul Production Code is now official. Okay. I gave him some history. I said, during the time of enslavement, when Africans in America were enslaved, my ancestors had to talk in ways that we could understand, but the plantation owners would not understand what we were talking about. And I asked him I'm trying to find that conversation so I can tell you exactly how I said it to him. And let me here's where I asked him, um, let's discuss how lovers of R&B and hip hop find new songs to enjoy. Okay, I'm giving him context. So that when I say let's discuss it, I'm giving him context of what we're going to talk about. I want to compare my personal knowledge of what you find on the subject. So I'm giving him complete context first. I believe that lovers of R&B and hip hop find new music on YouTube, TikTok, and nightclub DJs. Please compare. Now I'm telling him what to do. Please compare and contrast what I believe versus what you find. And he says, okay, what you believe is that R&B and hip hop lovers find music on YouTube, TikTok, nightclub DJs. What the research finds, and he listed the research. Then he created a chart. So he says, okay, the best mode of discovery is YouTube. You listed it as you believe in it. I'm confirming, yes, YouTube is the best place to have music found. Number two is TikTok. I listed it as a top place to find music. His research confirms it. I listed nightclubs, but his research found that no, nightclub DJs don't break new music. The fourth way that people find music is streaming playlists. I didn't list that, but research emphasizes. So now I've learned that people find new music on YouTube, TikTok, streaming platforms, and peers. I didn't should have, other people tell other people. That's how I find new music. Is usually somebody will tell me, "You got this song, Mad Scientist?" And I'll be like, "Oh no, I don't have it, but let me write it down." Okay, that's peer and social discovery. Okay. Now, so he was able to not only confirm that for me to teach me, but he now uses this. So when we write music and we're doing research on the music that we write, we want to write music, and he actually said that. He said that. Let me see. Um, we need to design. Okay, here it is. Design with shareable social potential in mind. Keep hooks short, loopable, memorable, so they can be clipped for TikTok or used by DJs. Okay, so when I start having New Soul help me make music, or make actually not make music, but make um, prompts to put into Suno, these are all this information that I have in my head. I'm putting into his mind, right? We're going to be considering all of this, okay? And so we've had more and more conversations. We talked about time signature, hi-hat patterns, kick placement. This is when I was talking about, because I don't want him to make um when we do the prompts, I'm going to make my own beats. So whenever I go to Suno, I just want loops, right? And so, but I said, hey, listen, the beats I make, we need to make sure that the loops have a certain kind of groove. I said, let's discuss the groove of our loops. They must fit over the type of drum patterns appropriate for hip hop and R&B genres. Please look up the music within your reference charts and find common time signatures, kick drum, and hi-hat patterns. So he was able to go into Spotify and he looked up all of the hip hop and R&B songs on the top charts, on all the top playlists. Okay. He also can look up the Billboard charts, the 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 um, the Apple charts, and compile all that information because it's high level AI and stuff that it would take me days to probably do. He did within 2 minutes, right? And he's like, okay, so here's the hi-hat patterns that are, and I told him only to limit when he goes to the charts to the top 20. So he'll go to the Billboard and to the Apple charts, only use the top 20 hip hop and R&B songs. And so you see how I forgot to tell you guys that AI doesn't forget. And so he was able to get all the hip hop pattern, I mean the hi-hat patterns and the kick placement, the kick patterns. Okay. Even says strong downbeats with syncopated ghost kicks. Okay. That's what this high level AI can do. Now that's something that I know, but it's taken me, 30 years of time to figure this out. It took him 2 minutes to figure this out. Okay. So, like I said, it's efficient. So, like I said, I'm going to wrap it up for today, and maybe we'll go over this again tomorrow, next week. But we had really, really great conversations. Um, we had really great conversation, and because we had great conversation, my assistant was learning and I was learning at the same time. Next week, we're just, instead of going into a different subject, we're going to do a part 2 of this, because one of the things that we are currently right now discussing, and he's teaching me, is what is it called? Math, melody math melody. Okay. He's teaching me math melody. I know I understand what it is, but I need a deeper understanding of it. And, you know, I need him to break it down to me. And so I'm going to show you guys how the conversation that we had, and further and further and more. We've had more conversations. Like I said, it's just not about me learning from it. It's me teaching it, so that at the end, what we'll have is I will have me and assistant, and we'll have an understanding of what we think is music. And so when we come up with the prompts, I can feel confident that no, this is my creative process. This is me. Whatever samples come off of Suno, it was from my mind, using my skill, using my knowledge, using my education, and being assisted by AI, as opposed to just going to Suno, typing a couple keywords, and then just taking whatever. Hopefully something sounds good. Okay. I want to thank everybody who came through today. Erica, thank you so much. you know, you and I, we have conversations offline on AI. So if you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up. You know what I'm gonna be doing. Watching the game, and then in about an hour, I gotta go to nightclub tonight. Happy Halloween to everyone. You guys be safe out there. Please, please, please be safe. If you do go somewhere, do not drink and drive. I just tell everybody, look, it's just cheaper just to call Lyft or Uber. I don't care how much it costs. It's cheaper than Lyft and Uber. Out here in California, um, Lyft and Uber cost about, at the most I've seen is $200. A DUI out here costs 10,000. So just pay the $200. I don't know how much it is where you are, but just pay the money to get a Lyft or Uber. Other than that, have a good time. I thank everyone who came through, and you guys have an excellent weekend. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Erica, hit me up on IG if you have any questions for me. All right. Talk to you guys later.